Welcome to the Restoration Ninja Profits Podcast, highlighting the unsung heroes of the restoration industry. Tune in today for success stories and insider tips. Now, here's your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Restoration Ninja Profits Podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I'm so glad to have Carlo with me today. Welcome, Carlo.
Hey, Lorraine, thank you for having me. Very excited to be here on your podcast to serve your community. I'm very excited about this.
Awesome. And tell my community a little bit about what you do and who you serve.
Yeah, great. So my company is called the Kingmaker. Straight away, I will say that we work with more women than men, which is always an interesting fact because everyone thinks you just work with men. We don't. We work with a lot of women, and ultimately we create winners, right? So in our work with business owners, we want to create the king or the queen version of the person behind the business for the ultimate purpose of them creating the business they want, making more money, and increasing the quality of their life. Then we also we take the same principles and work with elite athletes and teams to again create winning environments and individuals through mindset and performance. But for the purpose of this podcast, we'll keep talking about the business aspect, which we absolutely love. There's so many business owners that work incredibly hard but never really see the level of financial reward that they feel they deserve. So that's where we love to go in and help them to become the person, add the strategy, add the tactics, but ultimately help them become the person that they need to be and maximize themselves.
So let's talk a little bit about what you call yourself, the Kingmaker. Yep. And you mentioned some terms that aren't usual business terms, king and queen. So where did that come from? Did you wake up one day and say that, when it comes to confidence, everything, you have to be a king or a queen? I mean, where did it all come from?
So it stems back, I suppose, from my personal journey in business. I was 18 years old when I started in business, and I was running a simple service business where I was coaching kids, not just sport, but also mindset and a little bit of identity stuff with kids. And for 10 years that I ran that business, I started from 18 years old. I didn't know much about business, right? So I didn't know sales, marketing, education. I had no idea. I just loved what I did, and it came relatively easy for me. And so I started. But because of that, I struggled financially for a very long time. And what I realized was that if I was going to make it in business, the number one thing that I needed was to be a greater version of myself, because I was already good at what I did. I just had to upgrade who I was and the way that I showed up and my skill set and my mindset. And so I crafted this whole idea after years of struggle financially and in business of the simple concept that, hey, there are multiple versions of ourselves. There's two that I really kind of go back on. There is our current self that produces what we have right now and is capable of doing what we're doing right now. But then deep inside of us, we know that there is a version of us that is so much more, and it's capable of what we actually want to achieve, our dreams, our goals, our business aspirations. And so this king or queen version of ourselves is that version of us that can achieve those goals and can make that happen. And so we've crafted a system that actually helps people become that, leave the stress, the insecurities, the current struggles that we do have that are actually the root cause behind a lot of our business problems that we have. Because if we ever look at and working with business owners, we've realized that a lot of the problems that we do have are not necessarily a skill deficiency issue because we know what to do, but we're not taking the action, or we're not being consistent, or we do it. And you've seen this a lot, right? Where people do the right things for a little bit of time, but then something happens and they get in the way, or they're not consistent, or, you know, they start doubting the process and they go back to what they know. So we wanted to create a system that would help the person behind the business be everything they could be. And then at that point, if there is a skill that needs to be learned or added, so be it. But at least we're looking after the success demands from internally as the person. That is probably 80% of the success.
Yeah. And do you think too that, you know, sometimes, like, say that you're working with a CEO, you know, they may be great at their business and great at doing, you know, owning their business and all the different SOPs that need to happen and everything. But then you find out that there's a gap between who they are as a person and how they communicate with others.
Spot on.
Do you find that all the time, or, you know, because that's like being a CEO of a company, you know, whether it's, you know, a $50 million company or a $5 million company, you still, to get to that $1 million mark, you have to have good leadership skills, because, you know, and I find that, I mean, that has been my new role as I have been growing and scaling and everything. And I find that, you know, I'm always trying to improve those leadership skills. What are you seeing in the different industries with CEOs and leadership?
Okay, so this is great. This is such an important point. It's something that so many people we overlook. So here's the traditional, or what normally happens in business is that someone is great at a certain something. Right? They're great at the thing that they do, at their craft. So what do? They go and create their own business. Now, they go into business because they are so great at what they do, and then they do it so well that their clientele grows, their brand grows, they start to grow. But as the business grows, they often don't grow out of being great at their craft or skill into being great at running the business. The issue here is that there are two identities, right? There is the operator, the guy that is great at the craft, which will never leave, right? That will always stay there, because as your business grows and as you leverage and you scale, you will always be the master of the skill. And then everyone that comes in under you, you're still the master, and you're teaching them along your way with your company values. But what happens is that we actually never make the transition and learn how to become the leader of the business and the owner. That's why so many people, especially in your area, they get stuck in always just being on the tools, always doing the work, instead of actually taking the fact that they're great at what they do, duplicating themselves and leading the business. We see it all the time, and it's hard. It's a hard transition because no one teaches you that. You go and learn your skill. No one teaches you how to say, okay, now that you're great at your skill, how do we then duplicate you, get you to teach the skill, and also now view yourself, treat yourself, behave and act and think as the actual leader and owner of the business, so that now you shift your tasks from doing the work to winning the work. And that's where I think there's so many gaps there. And if we can just get it right, so many people want to do that, but they just don't know how. So
yeah, I'm always thinking, it's always like improving on myself. And one of the things I attended about a year ago is how to be the CEO of your own business. And it was probably one of the best things I ever did. I feel that, though, you know, that there's a lot of, especially when you're a smaller business, and, you know, a lot of people who are probably listening to this are not in the $50 million mark or the $5 million mark, but they might be just at the cusp of scale. And there are some skills that you have to learn, and it's like one of them is, of course, you've got to learn how to delegate and let it go.
Oh, wow. Do you know,
so
just on that, I'm just going to cut you off for a second, because you are so right. There is an analogy that I always use with people around this. And I don't know if you're into snow sports skiing, but I always use the ski slope analogy. Okay. Now, if you're thinking about this, pretend that you're a skier, snowboarder, and all you know is the blue slope. The blue, it's kind of in your comfort zone because you've done it so many times. But then one day you take the ski lift all the way to the top, and instead of turning left into your known blue slope, blue hill, whatever, you actually turn right. And all of a sudden you realize that you're halfway down the black diamond and it's straight down, and you're like, holy shit, like what's going on? Took the wrong turn, right? And so what happens down this ski slope is that you can do two things. You can resist it and you can tumble your way down and break your neck, or you can actually let go and you can make your way down slowly. But once you get to the bottom, now you are someone that has gone down the black diamond. Now you are someone that can do it. And sometimes we need to let go of the control of having it work 100% like it's always done. And even if it's 70% of how it's always been, it's still a massive improvement on where you were. And now all of a sudden you allow yourself the time and give yourself the patience, and you trust that, okay, my business isn't going to end if I let go of the control. But we have to be smart around this. From our experience, a lot of people, what they do is they let go of control and responsibility too much. Okay. And they don't do the quality control to say, okay, yes, I'm letting go of control. I'm not letting go of responsibility. I'm responsible for the quality of this, but I'm going to allow just a little bit for someone to carry it out. I'm going to be okay on a mindset level that it's not going to be like I do it, but if someone does a 70% with my quality control and I still supervise, then I know the job is going to get done well enough. But now your business grows. So just on that little letting go and control, most people make the mistake of just letting completely go. Do it in steps, supervise and keep that quality control. That's how the business, especially in your niche, grows.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely. You're quite an amazing person. You also work with athletes and kids, and you also have actually grown it took you 10 years to grow your business to multiple six figures. My question is with that is what changed? What was the turn on switch that actually got you to the next level that you needed to get to?
Two things. One, I realized just how important working on your money mindset really is. Because so many decisions that we make in business are related to money. So many decisions that we make in life are related to money. Our ability to increase our capacity to make the money that we want is directly related to our money mindset and what I call our relationship towards money. Okay. So that is huge. And the second thing is literally working on the mindset towards yourself and success, and really finding, for me, money was huge because I struggled to earn money because I had blocks there. I was great at what I did, but I struggled to earn it, to ask for it, to be paid what I was worth. And so I would do all sorts of weird things that would just hurt me in the long term. I never had that financial reward. So working on that was huge, but then working on the identity, recreating and becoming that king version of who I was. And that's always a work in progress. There's always levels, but those two things unlocked everything for me. I'm not saying that it's right for everyone. Although I think probably for 99% of people it is. Maybe people don't struggle with money. Maybe people don't struggle with mindset. They don't struggle with believing in themselves and seeing how actually capable, and they don't have that frustration around, hey, I actually think there's more to me and to what I do because I'm really freaking good at what I do. Maybe that's not them. But if it is, those two things are really the foundation and the core principles to actually being able to get to where people actually want to go. And I think they know deep inside that actually, you know what, I'm good at what I do and I would like to do more of it and have less stress, not worry about where the next, dollar is coming in, have a pipeline where I know that I actually feels good. I can be more in that abundance in psychology, in that state, because wow, we've got the pipeline, work with Lorraine. She's getting me clients. I don't need to worry. And I can also see how the clients that I'm coming in, I can fulfill it. And I've got the people and the infrastructure behind the business to cope with that.
Yeah. That's, it's true. It's, I was thinking about this is because it's kind of a generational thing too, the whole money, the lack of money, like I grew up with parents, for instance, that would always say to me, money doesn't grow on trees every time I asked for something. And I didn't realize that did something to me, inside my, my mind and the way I dealt with money. But I do remember it's like, all my kids are grown now, but I do know that I didn't do that with them. We never lacked for anything. And I attribute most of that to my faith, because God provided even during the rough times. So it's like, I never kind of thought about, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, or, what do you think? I just never did that. But there's so many people that they're afraid to spend any kind of money, and it's like, my husband's always been a big proponent of, you spend a certain amount of money on marketing. I mean, there are people out there that don't even want to market. And today it's so easy to market. You could market online, you could, there's so many avenues that you could, and they don't want to spend the money because they can't see it. They can't see it. But I think that it's important that you work, that if you're listening to this today, everyone, you really do have to work on that mindset. And that could be even with not feeling you're worth enough, or that you're not enough, or you just really need to work on that stuff. I'm a big proponent of learning, which I'm sure you are. Is that true, Carlo?
Yeah. Oh, if you're not growing, there's only one or two ways you can go. You can grow or you can die. And it's very black and white, but it's very true. And in today's, and this is why I'm a fan of what you do, Lorraine, because in today's world, the person that markets well and markets the most is going to get seen more. And people are buying easier than ever before. So for a lot of businesses, maybe you're thinking like, oh man, I'm afraid to invest or whatever it might be. I think you should totally allow yourself to invest, because people are buying so much easier. If we put something in our head today and we say, oh, hey, I want that thing, it's so much quicker for you to buy it today than it would have been 10 years ago, because you just want it now. So buyers are buying quicker and more easily. They just need to see you more. And if they don't see you, you're in obscurity, and you can definitely struggle to make money then, right? But if people see you, they know you're on top of mind. Similar to a McDonald's. So many people go to McDonald's. Why? Because they just see it all the time, and it's the easiest thought that they have, right? Let your business be that. Let it be that. And the returns will be, as long as you got the right processes in place, the return should be phenomenal.
Yeah. And think about it, businesses like McDonald's or Nike, or I can think of, some car dealerships like Subaru, or, all these businesses they don't really have to market, right? It's like, that if you're driving and if you're hungry and you see the golden arches, you're literally going to stop. Well, I don't do McDonald's, but it's like, it's not a really healthy thing, but for Nike, I mean, I don't need to be advertised for Nike. I mean, I need a good pair of sneakers. I need a nice little sweat jacket or a t-shirt. I'm going to buy it. Why? Because I love the product. However, the bottom line is that they don't have to advertise anymore, but they still are because they're not dead. They see the value in social media. And, interesting. I don't know if you've seen recently a Nike ad. They do these really cool ads where somebody's working out and being the best they can. And you don't even hear about Nike until at the end, you'll see their little symbol and their icon or whatever you want to call it, and just do it.
Yes.
And their advertising is actually inspiring, and I think that's actually really important too, is that, when you're a business owner, hopefully you're doing something that inspires you. You get to every day, you get to help people, move out of themselves and get to be, like you said, a better version of themselves. And I think and as long as you're showing up, and you're being the best you can, you're going to win. You're going to win. So
100%.
I want to ask you this, because I think I like to ask this question every once in a while, and I get really great answers. Is like, if you could go back and do it all over again, what would you do and why? I love this.
If I were to go back and do it all over again, and why? Okay, it's a great question. So the first thing that I would do, so I have different journeys of my life. If I was, let's play the game of 18 years old. So 18-year-old, what would you do again? Okay, I would go back and I would stay in the job for longer. So I wouldn't quit my job at 18, 19. I would actually stick there a little bit longer whilst I worked harder at putting a strong foundation to the business. So that's one. I got really excited and I'm like, nah, stuff this. I can't work for anyone else. I'm going to go and do it. I would beat my boss by building an incredible business. The second thing that I would do is I would double down on a certain set of skills that would help me to, first of all, not need to do the work to validate myself or to get, to necessarily just feel good because I was good at something. I would actually lift my vision and create a business that would impact more people. Okay. And the only way that I could do that is if I, instead of just going and did everything, literally everything, I would go in and develop the skills that would generate the money for me to get the resource of money to get the right people, right systems in place that I would then be able to just go and do the bigger vision stuff. Do I regret anything? Not at all. But that's just what I would do differently. I would develop the skills of discipline. I would develop the skill of sales. I would develop the skills of marketing and advertising. And I would develop the skill of probably communication and influence. I feel like with those skill sets, you can instead of taking steps, you can go in leaps, because it allows you to get in that one thing that we all need to actually just make the bigger difference, which is cash flow and money, right? The other thing that I'll probably do is I will probably go and work for someone that is doing it. I will work with them. I will give 6 to 9, maybe 12 months to learn how it works, and then learn as much as I can, take it into my business. And again, not steps, but leaps, right? So that I'll be able to take my vision and the way that I believed in it, that it should be done, into getting done, but now having that experience. That's what I would, and I would work on my money so much earlier. Really the understanding the beliefs and why do I believe what I believe? Why do I think this way is the way? Why do I think this is the truth right now? And I would challenge that, and then I would create my own beliefs around what I know at the time and what my awareness is at the time.
Yeah, no, all really important things. You mentioned a little thing that I wanted to ask you, because a lot of business owners, especially when they start out,
Yeah.
they have cash flow problems.
Yes.
So maybe, I know this is a loaded question, don't spend too much on it, but maybe two things with cash flow that could help somebody, that they should know about cash flow, that can help somebody if they're starting out. And then maybe that seasoned business owner that always has a certain, like maybe season of cash flow. What are some things that they could do to maybe inject cash flow, or a better cash flow, or maybe there's something that they need to do that is probably, I know it's a loaded question. We could probably talk hours about this, but
we could
make it brief, I guess.
I love it. It's a great question. So 2 points. One is profit first. Like we have to shift the way that we look at money, right? Money is a resource. Money is not just, hey, I want to make profit first because I want to just for selfish gain. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You want to help people for the purpose of making money for yourself. Great. But what is the money going to allow you to do? If we think about it from that way, right? Unemotional, just look at what money is going to allow you to do. Money is actually going to allow you to do more of what you do for longer. That's the aim of the game, especially early on. We have to create an environment where we can continue doing what we do. Because a lot of people are not going to be able to make a profit, right? Or be able to make the kind of money that is going to allow them to do what they do for longer. Then they have to go and get a job later on, and they stop serving their people, and the vehicle of freedom that they have to shut it down. Your business is the best way for you to find financial freedom. You just got to do it right. Initially, put the foundations in, focus on profit, focus on actually say, okay, I'm going to, and this is so difficult for a lot of people, was for me. So I'm not pretending that it's easy, but to say, okay, out of this job, I'm not going to use the money for a greater lifestyle just yet. I'm going to take the money. I'm going to cover my costs. I'm going to make a bunch of profit. I'm going to take that profit, put it here. So now I've got a kitty. Okay. I've got my resource stack, and I'm going to build it. I'm going to keep building and put as much as I physically can there, trusting that, hey, as soon as I start seeing 10,000, 20,000, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, now you've got possibilities, right? And the crazy thing is that we have and this is why I want to create winners, because we have so many business owners that are great, running great businesses that are great at what they do, but they just don't have cash. This is the biggest issue. The show out there is great, but the bank shows nothing, which is crazy. That's not right. We need to fix that. And then why are so many people stressed, anxious, all of that? Because they don't have the thing that is going to put them away from that stress, which is ultimately a few $1,000s in their bank, right? And if they just had that. So I don't want to deviate too much because your question is great. So profit first, stack money away. I don't like the word save. I prefer the word stack. It's just more exciting, because if I stack money, I'm like, all right, I want to stack money away. I want to build this, this stack of cash that then I can use to do what? To actually take away me from doing low value work. So that's the first point. Profit first. The second thing that I would say is we have to look at the reason why we're taking the decisions that we're making around money. Working on your money and your beliefs around money, your attitudes towards money is the most valuable work that you can do, because it controls so much of what we do in our life. If we don't work on that, if we don't know why we're doing what we're doing around money, you'll never get to the bottom of why you always fluctuate and have these seasons, right? The ability to do that and to work on it and to look at it, and so it can be scary for some people, but that's where we just got to be able to okay, I'm just going to face this for a bit. I'm going to do the little bit of work, create the systems around it, and never struggle with money again.
I
That
love it.
is life-changing.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's so important. It's like, the thing is that I meet business owners every day that will tell me that they're not making any money, that they just put everything back into their business. And I don't know if you've ever watched a show called Shark Tank. You'll hear some of them saying like, well, what's your profit? They will ask that. And they say, well, we don't have a profit yet because we've been putting it in our business. And I love the fact that you said that profit first, stack some money away. And I think I love it. I love the word. I love stack. I'm going to use it moving forward. I love it because I'm always saving for a rainy day, saving for this, saving for that. I want to stack it, man.
But
awesome.
Also, and the reason for that, Lorraine, is that language is very important because language comes along with a set of programs. When we say save, right? Save for what? What are we saving?
We can't touch it. It's always
you can't touch it. So now life becomes this thing. Money becomes this scary thing that will always run out and will never be there. There's more money today than ever before. It's so easy to make money these days. There's money everywhere, right? So we need to get into that trust. But because we and this is where it comes with this relationship with money and programming and how we've been taught, is that we talk about it in a certain way that it programs our mind to always be in fear. And is it a surprise that we struggle to invest and to take the jump and invest in things that are going to make us money? It's not a surprise, right? So it's very important that we look at that. And it might sound a bit tedious to people like, oh, surely it's not that big a deal. It becomes a big deal. Because if we look at the result, and I'm very result driven, very tangible result. But if I want that, I reverse engineer it the whole way so that I create success that is inevitable, right? So 100%, it's that thing that if people have more money, I genuinely believe that it changes them in the best possible way because then they're a better business owner. They're more relaxed. They actually now focus on getting creative. Like, okay, how can we do this? Oh gosh, we've got this. We've got to be smart where we invest it, making sure it's into something that generates more. So it's not, and then we get excited. We've got a little bit of money there and we go and do stupid stuff with it. I don't recommend that. I recommend put $1,000 into something that is going to return you 10,000 or 5,000 or 2,000. Now you've doubled your money. Okay. And if you can do that in the smart things, and it's only got to be stuff that makes you more money. So sales, marketing, promotion, and increase your capacity. If we do those 4 things, business grows, you get more money, get more resources.
That's awesome. Well, we're at the end of our time, but I always ask this question. This is a universal question. So it would be geared towards maybe startups, seasoned entrepreneurs or seasoned business owners, or somebody who's thinking of starting their own business. What is one universal piece of advice that you could give them that could encourage them and help them move forward?
You like your loaded questions. Okay. What's one piece of advice I would give generally to anyone? I would say that no matter where you're at, no matter what you do, your business is your creation. It's a result of you, and it will never surpass the level of personal success. You can't have a 10 out of 10 business and be a 5 out of 10 person. A 5 out of 10 person doesn't create a 10 out of 10 business. It's going to require everything of you. Personal development and your growth journey and you becoming the ultimate version of you is everything. Because then everything you touch, if you're a 5 out of 10 level person right now, the best that it can be is a 5 out of 10 business because you are that. So if you want to increase your business capacity, your money capacity, you need to increase your capacity and your level and your standards and and the level of person that you are. Simple as that. It's easy to start simple actions, but that's what I really would say. Even if you're a CEO of a $50 million company, you're going to want to go somewhere. That's probably not, you're always on this growth journey. And in order for your business to get there, you need to get there. You need to be the leader. You need to be the person, because it's a creation of us. It's an overflow of who we are, right? So the better you want it, the better you need to be. And it can be scary for some people, but look for help around it. Find ways, find systems that you can do that. Work on your mindset daily. Do the key tasks every day. Get a bunch of cash in to help you create that journey and mission that you're on.
I love it. Thank you so much. I'm sure, I mean, this has been so good. I'd love to talk to you for hours, but both of us do not have hours. And so if I know you resonated with someone. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that? And do you have anything to offer them?
Yeah, 100%. So there's a couple of things. I know that before the show we're talking about this, and something else popped into my mind as well. So I'll if that's okay with you, we'll offer two things, right? So first of all, the way that you can find me, I'm on LinkedIn under my first name, which is a nice Italian name. But if you just put Kingmaker and you look for Carlo, you will find me. Please come in and say hello. On Instagram as well, at the Kingmaker Coaching, you can find me there as well. But listen, let's do two things. The first thing that I wanted to give away was that sometimes we want to perform better, but we don't know exactly where we're at. So I have a checklist of things that is going to help you to pinpoint precisely the things that you need and what you need to work on. So if you want a performance checklist, reach out to me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Say, hey, Carlo, I heard you on Lorraine's podcast. I would love that checklist that you mentioned. That's one. So feel free to do that. The second thing is I have an amazing money programming little training that I can give to people that is going to really help you understand where are you at right now and where do you want to go, right? And once you understand where you're at right now, it's going to free you up and give you answers. If you also want that one, feel free to reach out. Just tell me, hey, found you on Lorraine's podcast. I love the performance thing and the money training. If you do that, I'll send it to you. We'll get it out to all your audience and serve and really help people where they're at and see them just improve their business, improve their life.
Thank you. Thank you again for being such an awesome guest. And to everyone out there, thank you for listening to the Restoration Ninja Profit Podcast. Until next week, I'll see you soon.
Thanks for joining the Restoration Ninja Profits Podcast. Armed with today's insights, you're set to elevate your restoration company. Subscribe to stay ahead.